Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam Guru Parampara Praptam Imam Rajashayo Vidu. He explains the term, he gives us the term Guru Parampara. And he also says, Tadvidi Paripatrena Paripashnena Seva Upadekshanti Te Gyanam Gyanina Statvadarshanaha. That if we want to know the truth, we should approach a teacher. And the teacher should be coming in this Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara means a succession, an apostolic succession of different teachers. So before we study the work of any teacher, we should look at that teacher, know something about that teacher and which tradition that teacher comes in. So I'm going to share a screen. Here's a picture of our author. This is a picture of Pillai Lokacharya. And you can see that he has a temple behind him, and he's got some pages of manuscripts here in front of him. He's got his right hand in the Jnana Mudra for giving knowledge. He's wearing Sri Vaisnava Tilak, Tengalai Sri Vaisnava Tilak, and he's wearing earrings and is wearing around his neck some Nalinakshamala and Tulsi Mala. Tulsi is the beads of the holy basil tree, and Nalinakshamala is seeds of lotuses, which represents Lakshmi. So Sri Vaishnavas, they usually wear both of these because Sri Sampradaya coming from Mother Lakshmi as one of the first acharyas. We'll discuss that in a minute. So he's wearing those. In the Shastra it says, Ye Kanta Lagna Tulasi Nalinakshamala. So Tulasi and Nalinakshamala on the neck. Ye Bahu Mula Parisinhita Shanka Chakra. The shoulders are branded with the symbols of Vishnu, the Shanka and the Chakra. Chakra on the right side, the Shankar on the left shoulder. Ye Vala Lata Palatelikid Urdhva Pundra. He's wearing vertical markings on his forehead and other parts of his body, right? There are actually 12 or 13 places. And Ye Te Vaishnavaha Bhuvanam Masapavitriyanti. This sloka says that these are the external markings of a Vaishnava. These are the external markings of a Vaishnava. In a traditional setting in India, like that. Now, in some other countries, you might see somebody who doesn't wear all these things, but still internally they're Vaishnavas, right? So it's not necessarily that all Vaishnavas might have all these external characteristics, but this is in the Shastra the external markings of a Vaishnava. So this is Pillai Lokacharya. So now you notice also he's got a tuft, he's got a sika, and he's got a cropped, shaved head, a little bit like that. So he is wearing now white cloth. Does it mean he was a grihasta? No, he was not a grihasta. He was a brahmachari. He was a brahmachari and never got married. So his in South India, the normal situation, actually in most of India, it's only the sannyasis and the sadhus that wear the saffron cloth, who are the celibates, right? You do have other people who are also celibate, but they're not wearing white, not wearing saffron. They're wearing white. So normally a student, a person who's a brahmachari or even will be wearing this white cloth, but perhaps they don't wear a panchakacha. They don't wear the tail on the dhoti. They just wear like a sarong style dhoti, which is called a vesti in Tamil Nadu. So because we're studying a little bit about Sri Vaishnava, a Sri Vaishnava author, we should know a little bit about Sri Vaishnavism and Sri Vaishnava Guru Parampara. That is called Oranvali, which is Tamil, which means in the shape of a garland, Parampara. So normally, anybody who knows what a Guru Parampara is, normally we understand a Guru Parampara goes from the Lord, God, and comes down to us through a succession of teachers. Yes? But here we find it's a little bit different. Here we find up the top here is the Lord, and it goes down one side and it goes up the other side clockwise and comes back to the Lord and turns into a garland. So I'm going to make this bigger so that everybody can see, and we'll go through the different parts and we'll see where Pila Lokacharya comes. So for those of you who cannot read, there's some things in English, and for those of you who cannot read the Tamil, I will read the Tamil and explain it. Okay, so on the top here, we have, normally on the top of Sri Vaishnava documents and things like that, we see the tilak, which is called tiruman in Tamil, which consists of a white part and a red part, or sometimes a yellow part. The yellow part or the red part in the middle is called Sri Churna, which is made of turmeric or turmeric with lime, which turns into kumkum and becomes red. It represents the goddess Sri. In the Sri Sampradaya, we are always mentioning the goddess Sri because she is basically the founder acharya of the Sampradaya. So in the middle of the tilak is this red line for Sri. When the tilak is put on, it's put on with names of Vishnu for the white part and names of Sri for the red part. So the white part here indicates this is Tengalai tilak, which is, you can think of it as being Protestant type tilak. Our author here, Pila Lokacharya, is considered to be a Protestant, or what they would call in India a Tengalai. There are two main sections to the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. There are many sections, but there are two main sections. One of them is Vadagalai and the other is Tengalai. The word Kalai is attached to both of them. The word Kalai means culture. So there is a culture or community, right, from the north of Tamil Nadu, near Kanchipuram, and there is a culture or a community from the south of Tamil Nadu, or Sri Rangam. The one from Sri Rangam, the one of the Sri Rangam Acharyas, is this is the tilak of the Sri Rangam Acharyas, and it looks like the letter Y with the little stick underneath in English. There's another tilak which looks like a letter U without a little stick down the bottom. Just looks like a U, and sometimes has red and sometimes has yellow in the middle for Lakshmi. That is the northern community, the Vadagalai tilak. So in at the top of all documents, Sri Vaishnava, they always put the tilak, the tiraman, to show that it's a Sri Vaishnava document, it's a Sri Vaishnava thing. And it'll either have the Tengalai tilak here, which represents the 2 feet of the Lord on the person's head. We are Sri Vaishnavas. We believe in the system of property, or complete surrender to the Lord. When you surrender to somebody, it means you put their feet on your head. It means the topmost part of your body is placed at the lowest part of their body. So when we put the tilak on our head, we're putting the Lord's feet on our head, both feet. The Vadagalais, the northern section, they have simply a U. It looks like one footprint. It looks like the bottom of the heel of one foot, the right foot of the Lord. So either you put 1 foot of the Lord or 2 feet of the Lord on your head, you're surrendered to the Lord. So both sections of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya believe in complete surrender to the Lord, and therefore they wear this tilak in the form of the feet of the Lord on their head. This is called Tiruman. And in the middle, it's called Sri Churna or the Sri powder for Lakshmi. On top of that, there's a little symbol there. That is the Tamil symbol for Sri, the special symbol in Tamil, and it means Sri. Just like in Sanskrit, sometimes we see the Om symbol is a distinct letter. So in Tamil, there's a distinct letter for the word Sri. So it represents Lakshmi. So a lot of times people will start that out at the top. Smartas in Tamil Nadu, they put a like a 2. It looks like an English 2 at the top, and that actually means Ganesh. But Sri Vaishnavas, we put the Sri there above. On the right and the left sides, of the tilak are the chakra, the Sudarshana chakra of the Lord, which represents the Lord's Kriya Shakti, his ability to create. And on the right side, we have the conch of the Lord, Panchajanya, right? The conch shell of the Lord, which represents the mercy and also the knowledge, right, factor. On the further right and the further left, we have two personalities who are devotees of the Lord. Here we have Garudan. Garudan is a Nityasuri, is an eternal associate of the Lord in Vaikuntha, in Sri Vaikuntha, or what we call Parampara, the supreme destination, and which is called also Nitya Vibhuti, the eternal place, as distinct from the place that we are in now, which is the non-eternal place. It's also eternal, but it's ever-changing. Nitya Vibhuti, and we have here Leela Vibhuti, the place of Leela, the place of the different incarnations of the Lord and his different Leelas through his incarnations and also through us. So Garudan is the divine carrier or Vahana, carrier of the Lord. Lord Vishnu rides on the Garuda bird, eagle. And he is called by Sri Vaishnavas as Periya Tiruvadi. Periya Tiruvadi. Periya Tiruvadi. Tiruvadi, right? In Sanskrit, the word adi means to, etc. It means beginning with. It literally means beginning with. A person, when we say a person beginning with a person, the beginning of the person is of the ground, right? The feet up to the head, right? The feet to the head. So the feet are the beginning. So Tiruvadi, Tiru means Shri. The word Tiru in Tamil is equal to the Sanskrit Shri. So when we say Tiru anything, it means Shri. So like Sri Rangam is the famous Vatican of the Sri Vaishnavas, the most holy place, Bhuloka Vaikuntham, which means heaven on earth. And Sri Rangam is also called Tiruvarangam in Tamil. So Sri is equal to Tiru in Tamil. In Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, you're going to hear a lot of things in Sanskrit and a lot of things in Tamil. So, for instance, all the acharyas have Sanskrit names and they have Tamil names also. So sometimes you'll hear people talk about Ramanuja. Ramanuja is the Sanskrit name for the acharya Ramanuja. But they'll also call him Emberamannar. Emberamannar is a Tamil name for Ramanuja. So sometimes you'll hear Sri Vaishnavas speak and use the Tamil term. Sometimes you'll hear them speak the Sanskrit term. So here we have Garudan, also called Garuda Alwar. Alwar, the word Alwar in Sanskrit, in Tamil, is a Tamil word which means a person who is so devoted, he dives deep into the ocean of devotion. Alwar. Right? So, Garuda Alwar. It's called Garuda Alwar. He is called the Periya Tiruvadi because in Sri Vaishnavism, he's considered more important than the other person on the other side, who is Hanuman. Hanuman is on the other side, and he is called Siriya Tiruvadi, the smaller devotee, the bigger devotee and the smaller devotee. For in other sampradayas, like the Madhva Sampradaya, they consider Hanuman more important and Garuda a little bit less important. Actually, they're both very important servants of the Lord. They're eternal servants of the Lord. But just one gets more prominence in one sampradaya than the other. Okay, so we can refer to Garuda as Garudan, Garuda Alwar, or Periya Tiruvadi. We can refer to Hanuman as Hanumanta, Hanuman, Anjaneya, or Siriya Tiruvadi. Okay, as Sri Vaishnavas. Now, underneath this is written, Alwar Emberamannar Jir Tiruvadigale Sharanam. Okay, in Tamil. It means Alwar. When we say Alwar, there are 12 Alwars. Some people say there are 10, some people say there are 12. Okay? But normally there are 12 Alwars. And the Alwars are great saints. Pogai, Budid, Pei, Tirumalasai, Kulashekara, Madurkavi, Nam Alwar, Peri Alwar, Andal, Tirupan Alwar, Tondaradipodi Alwar, and Tirumangai Alwar. I think I got them all, right? Anyway, we can have another discussion about Alwars some other time. The Alwars came before this, or it's a little separate than the Sri Sampradaya. There is one Alwar who is counted in the Guru Parampara, and that is Nam Alwar. So when people say the word Alwar, and they don't say a particular name before it, they mean Nam Alwar. And Nam Alwar is considered the head of the Alwars. He is the greatest Alwar. He is the greatest devotee of the Lord. So Nam, we can talk about Nam Alwar's life some other time, but I just want to say that when people say Alwar, they mean Nam Alwar usually. Just understanding this picture is all we need to do, and then we'll go directly to Pulalokacharya. So Alwar means Nam Alwar. Mbera Mannar, as I just said, is another name for Ramanuja. Jir, the word Jir here means Manavalama Munigal, okay, who came after Pulalokacharya, also comes in our Guru Parampara. This is particularly the Tengalai Guru Parampara. So when people say Alwar, Mbera Mannar, Jir, Tiruvadi Gale, Sharanam. It means, Sharanam means Sharanagati. It means property. So when I say Sharanam, it means I surrender to you, or I surrender to them. So here they say, Alwar Mbera Mannar Jir, Tiruvadi Gale. I just told you what Tiruvadi means. Tiruvadi Gal, or Hal. The ending Hal or Gal in Tamil is plural ending, and it means honorific. So if I want to say Tiruvadi, it means the holy feet, right? The holy feet. If I say Tiruvadi Gale or Tiruvadi Gal, it means the holy feet plural, and it means the more respected holy feet. So it's an addition to make it more respectable. So if I say Alwar, what it says here, Alwar Mbera Mannar Jir Tiruvadi Gale Sharanam. It means I surrender to the feet of Nam Alwar. This is in chronological order. The persons who came before and persons who came after. Nam Alwar, Mbera Mannar, and Ramanuja, and Manavala Muni. So these people are highlighted in this particular saying. So some people will end their emails like this. They'll end their letters like this, or they'll start like that. They may even start at the beginning of a class. Alwar Mbera Mannar Jir Tiruvadi Gale Sharanam. I surrender to this set of acharyas, right? So that's very just putting Nam Alwar and Ramanuja and Manavala Muni. That's like very simple idea of Parampara. Now we're going to see a little bit more. The Guru Parampara Ratnamala, the mala of jewels, the garland of jewels, that is the Guru Parampara of Sri Vaishnavism. Now it starts here with Sri Ranganatha. Sri Ranganatha means the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha. The earth, Sri Rangam is Boloka Vaikuntha. So Ranganatha is the deity he's lying on Shesha underneath the Pranava Vimana, golden tower above him. And the processional deity in front of him is called Nam Perumal. The word Perumal in Tamil means Vishnu. Perumal means Vishnu. Nam, we just heard the word Nam for Nam Alwar. And now again we hear the word Nam for Nam Perumal. The processional deity, the small deity that goes around the streets of Sri Rangam, goes different places, is called Nam Perumal. So it means our Vishnu. It means our Lord. The word Nam means our. When we say Nam Alwar, it means our Alwar. He was the head of the Alwars, Nam Alwar. So we call him our Namwar. It's a term of endearment to say our person. We're going to see the word Nam also is going to come again with some of the acharyas here, right? So we have Nam Alwar, our saint, and we have Nam Perumal, our God, right? So we start out with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayana, and this is his arch avatar, his emanation as a deity form in Srirangam in Tamil Nadu, in Tamil Nadu in Trichinopalli district, right? In between the two rivers, the two branches of the river Kaveri on an island. And there's a whole story about that, which we won't go into now. So Lord Ranganatha and Namperamal, his Utsava deity, our Lord, right, are considered to be the starters of the Sampradaya. The starters of the Sampradaya. Every Sampradaya, doesn't matter whether you're Shaivites, Vaishnavas, whatever you are, Shakta, always starts with the God. Always starts with God. So even the Shaivites, they'll start with Shiva. The Vaishnavas, they always start with Vishnu or Krishna or Rama, right? Whoever is their idea of the person, the supreme person, started their Sampradaya. So he is the first Acharya. So Lord Ranganatha is the first Acharya. Next, the next Acharya is over here, Sri Ranganayaki, Periya Piratiya, right? Sri Ranganayaki. Her Sanskrit name is Ranganayaki. Another name for her is Lakshmi, Sri Lakshmi, or just Sri Devi, Sri, right? So she is also there in Vaikuntha. She's the goddess of fortune. She's the principal consort of Sriman Narayana, and she's always accompanying Sriman Narayana everywhere as the Srivatsa on his right side of his chest. So her Sanskrit name is Sri Ranganayaki, or you can call her Mahalakshmi, or Sri Lakshmi, or just Sri Devi, or Sri, right? So she's always indicated with the word Sri. So whenever we have the word Sri, or Shriman, or Shrimat, or Shrimate, it always indicates Lakshmi. And Lakshmi is the first founder Acharya. Well, we have to say Ranganatha is the founder Acharya. He's the first. But Sri Devi is the first Acharya. She's the first Acharya. So from Sri Devi, the next person in the Guru Parampara is called Sri Vishwa. Oh, I just forgot. Periya Pirati is her Tamil name. Pirati means she's the Supreme Lord's consort. Periya means that she's the main consort. Periya means big, as we had with Hanuman and Garuda. Garudan is called Periya Tiruvadi. Hanuman's called Siriya. So Periya and Siriya in Tamil means big and little, or main and secondary. So she is called Periya Pirati. She is the main consort of Sriman Narayana. He has some other consorts also, mostly Bhudevi, the goddess of the earth, and also Neela Devi. Okay, so more about that in a different class. Sri Vishvaksena is the next personality here. Vishvaksena is considered to be, and he said here, Vishvaksena is the commander-in-chief of Lord Vishnu's army in Vaikuntha. So far we have three personalities, the Lord, the goddess, and Vishvaksena. All of them are in Sri Vaikuntha. They're all eternally in Sri Vaikuntha. They can manifest in this material world, but they are eternally in Sri Vaikuntha. So Vishvaksena is the third one, Sri Vishvaksena, right? Underneath in Tamil, his other Tamil name is called Senai Mudalya. Senai Mudalya. So Senai means soldier. He is the commander-in-chief of Lord Vishnu's army. Don't ask me why Lord Vishnu needs an army in Vaikuntha, but somehow or other he has this personality who acts like a secretary to him. And also Sri Vaishnavas normally pray to this person instead of praying to Ganesha to clear away obstacles in the course of any endeavor. Okay, so after Vishvaksena, we're going to try to move a little faster now, right? After Vishvaksena, we have Namalwar. Now, we spoke about Namalwar before. Namalwar is the first of the Alwars, the main, not the first Alwar in terms of appearance. So chronologically, he's not the first Alwar. But he is the main Alwar who wrote the most praise of the Lord in Tamil. The Alwars, the 12 Alwars, have written 4,000 verses, which are called the Nalayira Nalayira Divya Prabandham. Prabandham means the Tamil verses. Divya means divine. The divine Tamil verses, Divya Prabandham. Nalayira, Nala in Sanskrit, in Tamil means 4. Ayira means 1,000. So Nalayira means the 4,000 Divya Prabandham Tamil verses, divine Tamil verses of the Alwars. So I believe that Nam Alwar has, out of those 4,000, he has authored about 1,135 approximately. So more than 1,000, let's say. There's his Tiruvai Moli is 1,000. So he has authored the most out of any Alwar, and he is the main Alwar. So here he's called Nam Alwar. Now, there is no, I don't know that there's any, there is a Sanskrit name. There is a Sanskrit name for a Nam Alwar, and that is Sadakopan. Sadakopan. But it's not mentioned here. Here it's written Sri Nam Alwar, underneath it in Tamil it's written Sri Nam Alwar. So, Nam Alwar or Sadakopan is considered to be an incarnation of Vishvaksena. Okay? So these two people are actually the same person. This one in Vaikuntha and this one here in this material world. He appeared in a place called Alwar Tirunagari in very south of India, tip of India, and appeared to be a stillborn child because he didn't eat or drink and he just wanted to meditate and sit underneath a tamarind tree. So sometimes you'll see him, and especially you'll see if you see a personality with a hairstyle with the hair over to the side, with the bun of the hair over to the side, as it is here. He's got a bun over to the left side, right? His left side, right? That is Nam Alwar, especially if he's sitting underneath a tamarind tree. That's Nam Alwar. Now, if you see a lady with a bun over one side of her hair, that's the goddess Andal, who's an incarnation of the goddess of the Saint Andal, who's also the female Alwar. One of the 12 Alwars was a lady called Andal. She's also known as Goda Devi, and she also wears her hair like that over to the side. You'll see if you go to a Sri Vaishnava wedding, they always dress the brides up and they put the hair over on one side. It's a traditional thing that they do for the brides, because they're considered to be like Lakshmi, or to be like Goda Devi at the time of the wedding. So now, coming from Nama Alwar, the next person is called Sriman Natha Muni. Sriman Natha Muni is the next Acharya. So Natha Muni is his name in Sanskrit. I can't exactly remember if he's got a Tamil name, but it's because it says Srimad Natha Muni Munigal down below. Remember, Gal or Hal at the end is respectful, like saying G in Hindi. Yeah? Okay, then below him is Pundarikaksha. The important thing about Natha Muni is that the 4,000 hymns of the Alwars were lost at a certain point, and Natha Muni in about the year 800, he refound them. He found all of them. And there's a whole story about that, which we won't go into today, but he received them by doing penances. He received them in a yogic trance from Nam Alwar, who appeared to him, right? Even though it was hundreds of years after. From Natha Muni, they were passed. The next person in the Guru Parampara is Sri Pundarikaksha. Pundarikaksha is his Sanskrit name. His Tamil name is Uyakonda. So Pundarikaksha's Sanskrit name, Uyakonda is his Tamil name. The next Acharya is Sri Rama Mishra. His Tamil name is Manakal Nambi. The word Nambi, Nambi is just a respected person, a respectable person. It's called a Nambi. There's some other people like Periya Nambi. Nambi is just an appellation, like, another name. So anyway, we have Sri Rama Mishra, who is called Manakal Nambi. And he is the one who preached to the next person. The next disciple is Sri Yamunacharya. Yamunacharya. For those of you who have been studying Gita-artha Sangraha, that's by Yamunacharya. It's the condensation of the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita into 32 verses. He wrote some other books like Atma Siddhi, Sambit Siddhi, Ishvara Siddhi. He wrote Gita-artha Sangraha, the abridgment into 32 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. He wrote 2 stotras, Chatusloki on the four verses on the goddess Sri Mahalakshmi, and another one called Stotra Ratna about the Supreme Lord. All in Sanskrit. So Yamunacharya, his Tamil name is Alavanda. So Yamunacharya's name is Alavanda. If we go further down, we have from Yamunacharya had 5 main disciples. Here we see one of those disciples is mentioned in the Guru Parampara. That is the person who became the Diksha Guru of Sripad Ramanujacharya, who is down the bottom here. That is Mahapurna. That's his Sanskrit name, Mahapurna, right? The Tamil name is Periyanambi. Remember I said Nambi means a respected person? Periya means big respected person. So Periya means big. Maha means big in Sanskrit, and Periya means big in Tamil. So his name is Mahapurna or Periyanambi. Now, Mahapurna or Periyanambi, Yamunacharya actually died before he had met Ramanuja, or he saw Ramanuja. He recognized that Ramanuja was going to be the great leader of the Sri Vaisnava Sampradaya. But at the time, Ramanuja was in a different Gurukula studying under a person called Yadava Prakash, who later became his disciple. And this Yadava Prakash was a follower of Beda. He was not a Sri Vaishnava. Sri Vaishnavas followed the philosophy of Vishishtadvaita, not Beda. So this Yadava Prakash had a Gurukul. He was teaching Ramanuja. He was also teaching Ramanuja's cousin Govinda, and who we'll see also in the Guru Parampara. And later on, Ramanuja left him because he didn't like his teachings, and he came and he wanted to be initiated by Yamunacharya, but Yamunacharya passed away before he could give initiation to Ramanuja. So Mahapurna is the disciple of Yamunacharya who gave initiation to Ramanuja. Down the bottom here, we have Ramanuja. Ramanujacharya, also known as Swami Emberamannar, right? And you can see him here with his 2 main disciples, Kuradalwan or Kuresha in Sanskrit, in Tamil, Kuradalwan, and Mudliyandan, or I believe, yeah, anyway. So then after Ramanuja, of course, there were many different paramparas. So at this point, not everybody is going to have the same paramparas, but this is the main parampara of Thengalai Sampradaya. The next person to be the head of this community in Sri Rangam, is passed on, is Ramanuja's cousin, Govinda, who was also in the Gurukul of Yadava Prakash, but also came out of that Gurukul. His name is Govinda. His Sri Govinda in Sanskrit. In Tamil, his name is Embar. If we go further up to there, his disciple was Sri Parasara Bhatta, who is just called in Tamil Bhatta, Sri Bhatta, right? Parasara Bhatta. Ramanuja had this disciple on Ramanuja's right-hand side here, the man we always see with the beard, that is Kuradalwar or Kuresha. Kuresha had 2 sons, Vedavyasa Bhatta and Parasara Bhatta. And that's because Ramanuja had, Yamunacharya had wanted somebody to glorify Parasara Muni, who compiled the Vishnu Purana, and Vedavyasa, who had compiled the other Puranas, right? So he wanted the Vedavyasa and his father Parasara Rishi to be honored. So in the honor of Vedavyasa and Parasara Rishi, right, this Kurudalwar, the great disciple of Ramanuja, named his two sons after them. So this is the one son, Parasurabhatta. Parasurabhatta is the son of Kurudalwar or Kuresha. Like that. He was a disciple. He was the next following on from Sri Govinda or Embar. So when somebody says Bhatta, it means Parasurabhatta. There's Vedavyasa Bhatta, there's many other Bhattas, but if somebody just says to you Bhatta, it means Parasurabhatta. Just like if somebody says Alwar, it just means Nam Alwar. Unless they specify, just like even if they say Nambi, it probably means Peri Nambi. Okay? So you have to get used to that. Sometimes they don't say the full name. After Parasurabhatta, we have a person called Sri Vedanti Jir. He's called Vedanti Jir because he was an Advaitin. He was studier of Vedanta, and Jir means sannyasi. So he was a sannyasi who used to study Vedanta, right? And he became known as he was known as Sri Vedanti Jir, right? And you can see by the color of their cloth, Parasurabhatta was a grihasta, and this Vedanti Jir was his disciple, but he was a sannyasi. So Vedanti Jir has a Tamil name, and that is Nam Jir. Remember that word Nam means our, Nam Perumal, or Nam Alwar means our saint or our God, right? So here we have the word Nam Jir. Nam Jir means our sannyasi. So when Parasurabhatta used to see his disciple, he used to say, Nam Jir, our sannyasi, come here. So he got the Tamil name Nanjir. So his name is Sri Vedanti Jir or Nanjir in Tamil. The next person is Kalyari Dasa, also known as Nam Pillai or Nam Pillai. Pillai, the word Pillai means son. And we're going to come to Pillai Lokacharya, so this is important. Pillai means son. So obviously he's a disciple of Nanjir. Nanjir, being a sannyasi, doesn't have any sons. Okay, although in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, it is possible it is more likely than not that a person takes to Grihastha life and then becomes a sannyasi. Whereas in the Madhva Sampradaya, there are many people who just immediately from brahmachari, they take sannyas, which is called bal sannyas. They're Naistika brahmacharis. So we do have the system where somebody might be a sannyasi, but he might have had a son when he was a grihastha. So, but in this case, this person was called Pillai because he was like a son to Vedanti Jir or Nanjir. Nanjir, or our sannyasi, had a disciple. His main disciple was called Nam Pillai, our son. He considered him such a great disciple, he called him our son, Nam Pillai. So after Nam Pillai, we have another person, Krishnadas or Sri Krishna, right? He is called, in Tamil, Varukatiravidi Pillai. Varukatiravidi Pillai. Varukatiravidi Pillai. Now, something that you should know is the esoteric teachings are being handed down by this Parampara. The secret teachings, right? So this is Vadaka Tiravidi Pillai. Now, Vadaka, like we have Vadagalai, the word Vadaka means north. Tiruvidi, the word Vidi in Sanskrit, in Tamil, means street. Tiruvidi means a holy street. A holy street means a street just outside of a temple. So there's a temple, and there's streets around the temple in which the deity goes in procession. That makes the street holy, or which they hold the Rath Yatra in that street. That area is usually reserved for houses for Brahmins and is called Agraharam in Sanskrit. So Agraharam is a place where the Brahmin community live, which is just around the temple, and usually others live further away. The Brahmins have to live closer because they're doing all sorts of services like being pujaris or archakas. They're doing different things in the temple. So Around the temple, we have several streets. In those streets, we have houses, and those streets are called Tiruvidi. So the Vedic temples are usually laid out north, south, east, and west. Usually the deities are facing east. In Sri Rangam, the deities facing south because he was supposed to go to Sri Lanka after the war with Ravana, when Ravana was killed, and Rama gave the deity to Vibhishana to take to Sri Lanka in the south. He never got there, and he's in Sri Rangam, but he's facing Sri Lanka. So it's a little bit of an unusual thing in Sri Rangam. Usually temples face east, where the sun comes up. But in any case, temples are always laid out north, south, east, and west. And around the temple, there are these streets. So you have a street, a north street, a south street, an east street, a west street around the temple. This person's name is Vadaka Tiruvidi Pillai. So he's a Pillai, he's the son. He's a son who is from the North Street. So he's North Street son is the name of his name translated into English. Vadaka Tiruvidi Pillai. So we don't know whether it was the North Street of Sri Rangam or whether it was the North Street of some other temple. But anyhow, he was probably born or lived in a house in the North Street, right? His name was Krishnadas. Then his son, his actual son, Krishnadas was a disciple of his guru. This person here, Lokacharya. Now we come to Lokacharya, Sri Lokacharya in Sanskrit, or Pillai Lokacharya. This is our author of Sri Vachanabhushana. Pillai Lokacharya. Pillai means son. Again, Loka means the planet or the area, and Acharya means guru, guru of the world. Like we say, Krishna Mande Jagan Guru. Krishna is the guru of the whole planet. So Pillai Lokacharya in Tamil, otherwise Sri Lokacharya in Sanskrit, here he is. Okay? The next person after him is, the next person after him is called Sri Shailesha Swami. And his Tamil name is Tiruvaimoli Pillai. Pillai means again son. Tiruvaimoli is the name of Namalwar's work of 1,000 Tamil verses, which is part of the 4,000 Tamil verses of the Nalayira Divya Prabandha. After that, we have Sri Varavara Muni Swami. Sri Varavara, see, some of them are grihastas and some of them are, Pillai Lokacharya was a brahmachari, so he's also in white. And then we have here a sannyasi called Varavara Muni. His Tamil name is Manavalama Muni, or Manavalama Muni Gal, if you want to be more polite. You add the hull at the end. Manavalama Muni Gal, right? Or otherwise known as Varavara Muni, right? And we always know him if we see a sannyasi, and we see a sannyasi with an Ananta Shesha over his head, then we know that is Manavalama Muni, right? So, because both Ramanuja and Manavalama Muni are considered to be avatars of Shesha, Ananta Shesha, who is also a Nityasuri, an eternal associate of the Lord in Vaikuntham. After Manavalama Muni or Varavara Muni, we have Lord Ranganatha again. Now that's very strange. How can the Lord be the beginning of the Guru Parampara and also the end of the Guru Parampara? How can he be a disciple of Manavalama Muni? The fact is that the esoteric teachings of the Lord about the esoteric mantras which are received at Panchasamskara or Samashrayanam by Sri Vaishnavas, which are normally 3, they're called the Rahasya Traya, the 3 secrets, right? Which are normally given. 2 of them are more secret than the other. The other is quite open because it's the 66th verse of the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So it's called Charama Sloka. But the first 2 are Om Namo Narayanaya and the Dvaya mantra, which I'll explain in a minute, right? And everybody who is learning these secret teachings about these secret teachings has already been initiated into these mantras and therefore knows these mantras. But because maybe some people who are watching this don't know, I have to explain it. So those mantras are handed down in this Guru Parampara all the way around and back up to Manavala Mahamuni, right? And there are some secret explanations and secret esoteric teachings which are explained in certain books called Rahasya Granthas. The word Grantha means book and Rahasya means secret. So the esoteric meanings until they came to, let's see, until they came to Sri Pillai Lokacharya, they were not actually, until they came down to Lokacharya, until they came down to here, to Nam Pillai, until they came to after Vedanti Jir, until they came down to Nam Pillai, they were not written down. Nam Pillai was the first person to write them down. Okay? Otherwise, these esoteric secret doctrines were only taught from guru to disciple. And sometimes they were only taught by the guru to the best disciple. They weren't taught to every disciple sometimes. The secret teachings were only taught to one disciple so that he could transmit them to preserve them and transmit them. So the best disciple would be taught the most secret teachings. Then what happened was, at the time of Nam Pillai, they decided that these things needed to be written down. Otherwise, there was a possibility that they could be lost. At the time of Pillai Lokacharya, people started writing down elaborately the meanings, the secret esoteric meanings of the three mantras, right? But still, the teachings were not taught to anybody who was not a direct disciple. Even though they were written down, they were only taught to a direct disciple by a direct guru. Later on, so none of these things were published or they were all in manuscript form. When it came down to Manavala Mahamunigal at the end here, then it was decided by, he had a dream, and in his dream, the Lord said to him, yes, you can propagate this. So he began to propagate the esoteric teachings, and he actually had open classes. Still, the people who came to the classes were all initiated Sri Vaishnavas, right? And he would explain the esoteric meanings, and they would print the books, which were only studied by initiated Sri Vaishnavas. At one of those lectures, which occurred in the Sri Rangam temple, Manavala Mahamuni was lecturing, and a small boy came forward and recited a prayer in praise of Manavala Mahamuni's explanation of the three esoteric mantras. This boy was an incarnation of Lord Ranganatha. So this was showing that Lord Ranganatha himself accepted the teachings passed down from himself through the Guru Parampara to Manavala Mahamuni, and accepted that they could be taught more openly, still to people who were initiated only, right? But accepted Manavala Mahamuni as his guru. So that is why Lord Ranganatha is here. He's at the beginning and he's at the end of the Guru Parampara. So there are many other Guru Paramparas. Everybody has their own Guru Parampara, which just goes down like this. But this is the main Guru Parampara for Tengalai Sampradaya, which shows how the esoteric teachings have gone around. So that is how the teachings have come down to us. And so what we're interested in today is we're going to look at the life and works of Sri Lokacharya, Pillai Lokacharya, this person here. The book that we've been asked to discuss, and it's going to be a discussion. I'm not teaching this book. I'm not qualified to teach this book. But we can discuss the book. We can go over the book. like that, and we can discuss amongst ourselves. Perhaps we can find some great acharya to teach the book to us. But we can discuss what's in the book. We can discuss the topics. We can read the book of Pillai Lokacharya. And so I just wanted to show you where he is in the Guru Parampara, almost towards the end here. And we should also note that his books, Mumukshapadi, which is his most famous book, let's say, famous as a beginner's book for him, and Srivachana Bhushana, which is his magnum opus, right, also have commentaries by Manavala Mahamuni. And when people study them, they also read the commentary of Manavala Mahamuni, the last acharya here before Lord Ranganatha. So for Tengalai Sampradaya, especially for the southern school of the Sri Vaishnava or the Protestant school of Sri Vaishnavism, the works of Pillai Lokacharya and Manavala Mahamuni are the quintessence of the esoteric secret teachings on the Rahasya Traya, the three secrets taught in initiation. Now, what are those three secrets? Just very quickly. That is described in this picture, in the middle of the picture. So in the middle of the picture, first of all, we have two personalities up here. This is Lord Narayana, and this is Nara. Both of them are incarnations of Lord Narayana. Nara Narayana rishis, and they are situated in Badrik Ashram in the north of India in the Himalayas. Many people might have gone there. It's a holy place. And there's a temple there of Badri Vishal and several other deities. But the main they have the deities of Nara and Narayana rishis. This is the place where Lord Narayana decided to teach the first secret mantra. Lord Narayana was in Vaikuntha and he decided, I have to teach people the first secret mantra. I have to give them an easy way, a quick way, or I have to give them a way to attain moksha, to attain my eternal service in Vaikuntha. How do I do that? I have to propagate this. In order to propagate it, I myself will come as the guru, and I myself will come as the perfect disciple, and I will instruct myself, because I can't find a perfect disciple and I can't find a perfect guru. So I'm going to come as the guru, and I'm going to come as the disciple, and I'm going to give the mantra. So he came as Naranarayan Rishis and instructed the mantra, the Astakshara mantra, or what's called the Tiru mantra. Remember, Tiru means Shri. The Shri means the holy, the holiest of holy mantras. The mantra Raja, the king of mantras. The Astakshara, the 8-syllable mantra. Om Namo Narayanaya. Right? So Lord Narayana came and instructed this mantra to Nara at Badrikashram. So that's the first of the secrets. The meaning of Om Namo Narayanaya is explained in all the books and teachings, all the esoteric books and teachings of the Guru Parampara, specifically Pillai Lokacharya with the commentary of Manavala Mahamuni. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so the next one, the next secret, which is initiated, which the Sri Vaishnavas are initiated into, is called the Dvaya mantra. In Sanskrit, the word Dvaya means two. So it's two mantras in one. Two mantras for the price of one. You have two mantras. So two phrases in Sanskrit which go together. They were imparted. You see here in the middle, Lakshmi and Narayana in Vaikuntha. Sriman Narayana with Sri Devi Mahalakshmi. He imparted this mantra to her. She is the founder Acharya, first Acharya, right, after Lord Ranganatha of the Sri Sampradaya. So in Vaikuntha, he told her this mantra. This mantra is Shriman Narayana Charano Sharanam Prapadye. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is Srimate Narayanaya Namaha. So Shriman Narayana Charano Sharanam Prapadye Srimate Narayanaya Namaha. So it's a longer mantra than 8 syllables, but it has two, it means Sriman Narayana. Sriman Narayana means Narayana along with Sri, right? Lakshmi Narayana. Sriman Narayana, Charano, the 2 feet, Sharanam, I take shelter. Sharanam, prapadye means I surrender. I surrender and take shelter of the 2 feet of Lakshmi Narayana. Right? That's what the first one means. Second, Srimate Narayanaya Namaha. I offer my obeisances unto those personalities that I just surrendered to. Srimate Narayanaya, Narayana with Sri, Namaha. Not for me, for them. I offer my obeisances to them. The first mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya. Om is a transcendental syllable. Oh my Lord, I offer my obeisances, Namaha, to Narayana. So, Om Namo Narayanaya, Sriman Narayana, Charanam Papadye, Shrimate Narayanaya Namaha. These are the first 2 mantras. The third mantra we mentioned before is called Krishna Charama Sloka. The word Charama means coming at the end, the most important, the primary instruction of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Praja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Masujaha. Just abandon all varieties of religion, surrender unto me alone, surrender unto me only, Mam Ekam Sharanam Praja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo. I will make sure that you're not harmed by any sins, right? Right? If you just surrender unto me, right? Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo. Moksha Yishyami. You will go to moksha in the future. Moksha Yishyami. It's a future tense. Ma Sujaha. Don't worry. Don't fear. So don't worry about anything. Just surrender unto me. You've abandoned all varieties of self-effort, all paths of self-effort like karma jnana and bhakti yogas. Just abandon all varieties of religion, of all dharmas, and just surrender unto me. I'll protect you from the reactions of all sinful activities. Don't fear. Be certain. Be sure about it. So this is the final instruction of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Out of the 700 verses, this is the most important one. So this was instructed, as you can see down here, by Lord Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So here it says Kurukshetra Tile Kannan, meaning Krishna in Tamil, right? And it says Arjunaku unto Arjuna Charama Slokam. And it says that he taught him Charama Slokam, the last Charama Slokam. Okay, so this is the Sri Vaisnava Guru Parampara. Tomorrow we'll talk specifically about the life of Pillai Lokacharya, and we'll talk not only about his life, because there are 2 things which are important about Pillai Lokacharya. One is his life. In any guru, any acharya, they say a bird flies on 2 wings. And the 2 wings of an acharya are his anusthanam and his jnanam. Jnanam and anusthanam means his knowledge, like his preaching, his teachings, and his personal life, his behavior, and everything like that. So, right. Whereas we have the situation with Krishna and Rama. Krishna gave very good teachings in Bhagavad Gita, but his personal life was not to be emulated. Whereas Lord Rama was very good in his personal life, but never gave us a book, to read. Although the Ramayana is there, but it's by Valmiki. It's not by Lord Rama himself. So in this way, the acharyas of the Guru Parampara, they're supposed to be like birds that have these 2 wings of jnanam and anusthanam. The perfect acharya, of course, has to have perfect knowledge and perfect conduct, perfect life.
Sure.
So, of course, we can see so it's important to look at the lives of the acharyas. It's also important to look at the teachings of the acharyas. And sometimes with the alvas and acharyas, the things in their lives also teach us many, many things, which they don't specifically write down in their books. Right? So we can learn from their lives. We can also learn from their books.